We back once a motherfucking again. This build might break Nocturne, guys. You will realize the flexibility. It will totally change your perspective. I analyze every segment in depth, giving you powerful information across the build. You will definitely learn a lot. This is not fucking clickbait. But why the fuck should you even watch this video? I'm a challenger jungler and coach, and I am changing the meta in League of Legends with various builds as we speak. Most recently, Volibear and Poppy. Alright, let's get into it. I have found a method to reliably recall with BF Sword. Brain Explosion, BF Sword, what the fuck? Starting either Raptors or Wolves. Full clear, Scuttler, then consume 2 of the respawning camps. We call this the 8 camp clear symbol. This will leave you with around 1250 gold, which is still not enough to buy BF Sword. In order to achieve that, we use Triple Tonic, the first elixir granting 40 gold at level 3. The end goal is to purchase Yuntal Wild Arrows. This new spicy item has been repeatedly buffed, becoming even better on melee champions, requiring only 60 auto attacks to stack, which can easily be accomplished by clearing only about 5 jungle camps. A fully stacked Yuntal is over 150% gold efficient during its passive. Most legendaries are around 120%, so you can see it's pretty strong. Not just any stats, but stats that multiply very well with each other and with Nocturne's Skit. He gains 60 AD from Q, a lot of attack speed from W, and also has an incredibly high attack speed ratio, which is 15% higher than the average champion. If you don't count Bel'Veth, which is a special case, Nocturne has the highest in the game. His passive provides an additional steroid which can also crit. The flurry lasts for 6 seconds, which is more than enough to execute most enemies with paranoia. The main issue with Yuntal is its heavy yet strong build path, but unlike most champions, Nocturne can reliably achieve BF Sword with his strong clear speed, dueling, and safety. Let's get into the runes now. We'll talk a bit more about Yuntal later. So precision makes the most sense. Nocturne's primary source of damage is auto-attacking. If you are new to League of Legends, precision is generally designed for auto-attacks. Conqueror is generally great in short bursts. Especially against squishy champions, it will always have value since you start the fight with half of the stacks just casting your spells. Against tanky comps, little tempo is superior in long fights because of the strong DPS potential. So just make sure to run that against tanks. Triumph, other options are useless in the jungle. Then Alacrity, which is a no-brainer, improved clear speed, burst, and overall amazing synergy with his abilities. Coup de Grace is my preferred choice for assassinations, in ganks or picking people off in side lane. However, I combo Last Stand with little tempo for dueling purposes. Nocturne plays for all-ins, so if the target is even 90% HP, Cutdown will deal less damage than Coup de Grace. Cutdown is only good for engaging fights and letting teammates clean up the target. It's a bit overrated, don't just take Cutdown, it's not a very good rune on this champion. Okay, then Triple Tonic is not just for the early gold. At level 6, your first ultimate will potentially have 12 extra AD. If you combine that with BF Sword, 170 fucking AD at level 6. With high attack speed. Nothing can match you in skirmishes, really. An extra skill point at level 9 is really valuable because both Shroud of Darkness and Unspeakable Horror sharply scale with levels. I pair it with magical footwear because Nocturne can function without early boots pretty decently, generating a lot of gold from this page. If you are not building BF Sword or you don't care about recalling later, there are some other options. You probably already know Ultimate Hunter is valuable. Nocturne relies on Paranoia. It's a powerful fucking ult. Now, most people pair it with Sudden Impact. I prefer Chip Shot because it's way more consistent and also does something pretty sick. You can proc it with Red Buff, E, Smite, Red Pet, Stribecker, and other items, like Bork. 2 chipshot procs outdamage sudden impact. In sorcery, we have something similar, Transcendence with Water Walking, which doesn't just reduce the cooldown of your ult, although not to the same extent as Ultimate Hunter, but also your basic abilities. Ability Haste is an amazing stat. All of Nocturne's spells have pretty strong utility. This page is generally decent, but I'm looking to take it to stack Drakes or against Kindred, Shyvana, maybe Velvet, early skirmishing, secure or deny objectives. There is also a hidden gem in Resolve that I bet you didn't expect. No one is using it. Bone Plating. Nocturne can force fights on his own terms, usually getting full value from this rune. Pair it with Overgrowth for some really solid anti-burst. You might be wondering, why not Conditioning? Well, not only you are going double scaling on an early game champion, for Nocturne, Bonerino Platingino brings higher effective health than Conditioning. Yes, assassins and burst mages will hate this combination. Especially if you go for a Yuntal build, because you don't get as much durability as a traditional Strybreaker. For shards, attack speed plus adaptive is simply the best clear speed and dueling early game, not a big deal, while scaling health quickly outvalues the flat HP as a jungler. I'm trying to give as much information for free as possible, but just so that these videos aren't 1 hour fucking long, I'm making extended content on Patreon, breaking down the builds from 13 Challenger Nocturne games. You can also find a custom item set for this guide, among coaching sessions and other perks. That's just the best way to support me. Let's look at items now. I love Scotch Claw Pop on Nocturne. The small dog, the red one, guys. The channel time for the fear is 2 seconds. Just like the duration of the slow. Now, you don't have to rely on Strybreaker's slow to function, which is great. Additionally, it evolves your Dusk Trail. Now, you can use it as an engage or disengage tool to proc it from range, much more reliable gap closing, and even decent at poking, zoning a little bit. Don't go blue pet, it is completely branded in my opinion. Green can be okay with Strybreaker, but I still prefer red, I take it 100% of the time. The first root item, simply meaning first legendary option, is Yuntal Wild Arrows. I already explained why it's powerful, strong burst against squishies but also strong DPS against bruisers, means a great all-rounder. It's kind of hard to go wrong with this item as long as you can get that early BF sword. Here comes more spice on the list. Opportunity, which recently got buffed. If you are against squishy champions or you cannot afford BF sword on the first base, this item is cracked. It gives you the best clear speed possible. The passive has permanent uptime outside of champion combat. Most people don't know that. So you have 30 lethality against monsters and tappers, which is huge. The clear speed is roughly 25% faster than the popular Strybreaker, while being much cheaper with a pretty amazing build pad. Since Nocturne already has really high AD and attack speed, 30 lethality is basically equivalent to 60 extra AD against camps, yes. And the more items you buy, the more value you will get from the lethality. If fights last longer than like 6 auto attacks, it's going to run out of steam. Be really careful when you decide to buy it, guys. With this you can also transition into full lethality with Axiom, Arc, etc. Even run Halo Blades. I just don't think it's viable since games are pretty extended right now. There are many comeback mechanisms, and lethality Nocturne usually falls off way too hard and eventually becomes useless. It really just has one gimmick. One shot a guy, try to get picks, but you have much less utility and power against certain champions. The way I see Nocturne, this champion needs to farm fast, collect as many resources as possible, get picks, and close out the game through side lane. I don't mind building glass cannon items on the first slot. In most cases, Nocturne is a pretty bad teamfighter. That doesn't mean Strybreaker is not valuable. It can still be rushed when you need the durability and engage potential, especially against mobile bursty characters and hard counters. Think about LeBlanc, Talon, Zed. It can be rough to play around those characters without Strybreaker. If you thought the fucking list might end here, we also have Blade of the Ruined King. I purchased it against health stacking monsters like Mundo, Skarner, Sire, Ornn, or even Galio, Vladimir, Silas, Swain, and Rise. which have very high base health. You might have missed that last year, Riot increased the monster cap from 60 to 100, giving Borg a fast clear. It's a similar logic to Yuntal, but it even comes with a nice slow effect and lifesteal. Nocturne has very little sustain, so I found that staying on the map for extended periods of time, perma-sustaining, to rejoin fights is a lot easier with Borg. Experimental Hexblade. It's a controversial topic. Some people like it, some people think it's complete garbage. My process is a lot simpler, guys. It's just a ganking item. It casts off roughly 30 seconds of your ult, later down the line it scales down to about 20 seconds. If the enemy laners are easy to gank, really vulnerable, why not just spam R and snowball the game? The item simply has the worst PV out of all these options. That is the biggest trade-off for me and why it's just not that amazing. Unless you go for long fights though, it does a decent job at granting you that burst damage to the attack speed. Bar to bar, it's worse than Strybaker, but it's the only option granting AD, attack speed and haste. Definitely viable. For the last root item, we got a surprise Kraken Slayer. This is just budget Yuntal. Yeah, just view it as budget Yuntal. When you can get a BF sword, when enemies aren't squishy enough for opportunity, nor tanky enough for Borg, Kraken Slayer does the job quite well. Super solid and easy build pet. The difference in DPS is actually minimal, not that big, but Kraken Slayer even comes with some movement speed. Ideally, it's a rare purchase, but for you guys that are low elo, just started learning jungle, just started learning the game, I think it should probably be the most consistent thing. It's like training wheels for this champion. Moving forward, let's buy some motherfucking boots. Plated steel caps or mercury threads could often be the best. It's important with glass cannon items like Yuntal, you got to be a bit tanky. If you cannot justify them, go for Ionian Boots of Lucidity, especially if you win Feats of Strength. 15 haste is quite impactful for Nocturne. Boots of Swiftness are fine, but only against a lot of slowing. If I am snowballing really hard, I might purchase Symbiotic Souls. Why? Money boots. I will generate a lot more resources on the map once I upgrade them. It's an investment. The empowered recall or escapes makes it easier to play through side lane, which is Nocturne's strength, for sure. After the root item, you should look to prioritize haste and durability, mixing in as much damage as possible, in order to make use of Nocturne's utility and base values, especially higher uptime on Q for the AD and MS and lower ult cooldown. Black Cleaver is simply the core item. I would buy it second 90% of the time and I would always have it in a completed build. It doesn't matter if you are up against squishy or durable enemies, in burst or long fights, the damage amplification is strong even in assassinations, it's really easy to stack. The combination of high haste, HP, AD, even some MS is simply too powerful. It even helps Nocturne become more flexible with his rigid gameplay when peeling or just sitting a frontliner for his team. If they got steel caps or any armor item, you will feel like you deal no fucking damage without Cleaver, let's be real. Please buy this item on him, guys. This dance is also something you want to have in the majority of games, a simple to understand concept. Nocturne is a very all-in character, cleansing the bleed and healing after diving for your target, or even dealing damage in a 1v1 is extremely valuable, considering that the item also provides amazing stats, including 15 haste. You shouldn't build Maul of Malmortius as often as Distance, which is a bit more universal, but it's strong against magic damage for similar reasons. Sundered Sky is a different flavor of these items. For example, let's say you don't need MR, you already have Distance, but you want to build more damage and haste. Or you just want an item that does well against mixed types of damage. Kempak Chainsword offers a lot of HP and haste, which Nocturne likes, but you shouldn't upgrade the Executioner's Calling until you run out of slots. There are better purchases. The enemy team has Shen and Karma? maybe it's time to build Serpent's Fang so you can actually kill your target. Lethality is a pretty strong stat for Nocturne. You can definitely get away with this item. Let's have a look at some armor items. Random's Omen is one of the best things you can possibly buy for scaling against crit, but even as a standalone item, the slow is a lovely tool for him. Frozen Heart is a traditional Nocturne item to debuff heavy auto-attacking enemies. Comes with a lot of haste, which is very nice. Hornmail should only be purchased against champions which heal through auto-attacking heavy physical teams. Whenever you need healing reduction, look to buy Kempan Chainsword instead, it might be a superior option. Maw of Malmortius is already the best MR item on this champion. You should only look to purchase the other MR items against heavy magic damage teams. Kennig Rukern is typically your best bet. Force of Nature is rarely valuable because Nocturne just doesn't have the best effective health. Little healing and no shields, okay? It makes sense. Their team has to be full of dots and CCs to justify it over Kennig Rukern. Nocturne can use the stats from Mercurial Scimitar quite well for the occasional Mazar and other heavy CC comps. Now, Capstone, simply meaning late game skill scaling items. Hullbreaker is usually the best at achieving Nocturne's win condition through side lane. In general, it's a good item by itself. Even in teamfights, you can use it to siege with Baron and close out the game as fast as possible. Guys, most people don't know that this item doesn't have any kind of isolation mechanic on it anymore. Every single effect works around your teammates. Strass Gauge makes perfect sense with how Nocturne plays fights. You need at least a few HP items, and his base CD is pretty low. Don't just rush into building it, have some thought process, because Death Dance might be better, Sundered Sky might be better. Jackshaw can offer anti-burst that's close to Strass Gauge, especially when enemies don't have percentage penetration, but it should be stronger in longer fights in combination with items such as Death Dance and Malmortius. Let's go over some Snowball items now. I'm looking to purchase this if I am very far ahead of opponents and the game is heading in the right direction. Umbral Glaive. I purchased it against squishes. As I mentioned before, penetration is a great way to scale Nocturne's damage. It even comes with some ability haste, pretty gold efficient and very cheap. Nocturne loves blue trinkets, so with this you can still remove some vision and make it easier to find angles. Hubris is pretty amazing if you start the game with like 10 motherfucking kills. The duration is 90 seconds, but your ultimate can get lower than that. I'll look to purchase it when I have guaranteed targets to kill, okay? Guardian Angel offers a safety net. Pretty valuable if you have a big bounty, if you ask me. After the revive, you should be able to get another spell rotation in most cases, and recalibrate. Of course, make sure they got a bunch of physical damage champions to actually get some value from the stats, because it just doesn't give the best stats, guys. Wit's End is a tricky one. This is pretty up in the air, arguable. It gives a lot of DPS, but no haste, no significant durability. You have to be able to auto-attack for a long time. I would purchase it against tanks, which tend to deal magic damage and have CC, like Maokai, Oramus or Sejuani. They usually buy armor items, so the magic damage brings an extra niche. Still, only from a lead. It tends to be lackluster in my humble experience. Okay, last item on the list. Ravenous Hydra. As the name suggests, when you want to be the most ravenous motherfucker on the Rift, farm the entire map, farm 2 or 3 lanes at the same time, proceed farming their base, out-sustain everything, farm the jungle, do just anything that you want, 65 AD, 15 haste, 3 nice stats, with a lifesteal, never have to base. Yeah, just buy it when you want to focus on side laning, and you are ahead. Now, if you made it this far, don't forget to drop a motherfucking like, subscribe, and comment what champion would you like to see next. Now, if you want to turn your fucking brain off and just be a little brain-dead piggy, this build should work most of the time. You can just copy it from the screen. But, if you want to take your builds to the next level, here are some examples from really specific builds that I took from my own games. Make sure, check out Patreon, where I analyze builds a lot more in depth. All links in the description. You can also book coaching, just add me on Discord. I'm a challenger jungler, I'll coach people with gameplay and stuff, but recently I started doing some itemization coaching. It doesn't matter what you play. I coached a Kalista OTP, he was very happy about it, he got a lot of value, and I'm sure his win rate will improve quite a bit. Just hit me up, not a big deal. I'm uploading a bit on my secondary channel. If you guys miss me full clearing the entire rift, dropping some education on kids, don't forget to drop a subscribe there as well. Let's wrap up this video with the skill order. Q at level 1, best DPS, W level 2 for the attack speed, Q at level 3 if you're just clearing, in rare cases you can take E at level 3 or even 2. If you are getting invaded, or you're invading yourself, maybe there is a free kill to pick up. Max Q by level 9, but then there is a debate among Nocturne players after the tether got nerfed. W or E max second? Well, I think W max is completely braindead. The E fear duration is too long, even the magic damage is nice, the cooldown goes down. Way too impactful, people don't even have tenacity much. There's no legend tenacity anymore. It's such a long and targeted CC. Please max it. Thank you for watching, my little bear cubs. Take care.